Hey y'all, here we are again, another Monday morning rewind on a Tuesday morning. Just wanted to visit with you a little bit about stewardship. You know, at Meridian Avenue Baptist Church, we've been doing a stewardship series this month, talking about how everything that we have is God's and God has given it to us to manage for Him. We are stewards, we're managers of His property and His blessings. And that includes money. You know, we don't like to talk about money in church, but you know that in the Bible, there are over 2,000 Bible verses concerning money and material possessions. And I think that's because God knew that we as humans would think that money was going to solve all of our problems, take care of us. I want to share with you just a couple quick stories about people who thought that very thing. William Bud Post won a lottery, big lottery in Pennsylvania in 1988. And within a year, he was $1 million in debt. Girlfriend sued him. Brother tried to have him killed. A lot of things happened in his life. And in the end, he said, I was much happier when I was broke. David Lee Edwards in Kentucky won $27 million jackpot. It wasn't long. He and his wife blew through $3 million in the first 3 months, and then $12 million by the end of the year. Planes, cars, mansions. They ended up living in a shed, a storage shed in somebody's backyard. And then when he died alone and broke in hospice at the age of 58. If you weren't a good steward before you were blessed with all this money, you weren't going to be a good steward when you get it, right? Because for them, money became the master. And money makes a good servant, but it makes a terrible master. And if you think that money is going to solve all your problems, listen to what Solomon, the wisest man in the world, says in Ecclesiastes. Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. He says that the more you have, the only thing that's good about it is that people will come to help you spend it. And he said you end up just watching it slip through your fingers. And I think Jesus understood that. You know, that's why he tells us that no one can serve two masters. For you will hate one and love the other. You will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money. Those stories I told you about lottery winners, they were slaves to the money. Let me just give you a quick real principle that we've tried to live by here in our life, and that's 80-10-10. 10% goes to the church. That's your tithe is always first. 10% then goes into savings for the future, emergency fund, so that you can do everything you can to avoid debt. And then live in your means on the other 80%. Does it make making maybe some choices that you have to make to change your lifestyle a little bit? Yeah, that's okay if you get your priorities right. Just a quick example that Sherry and I were doing the other night. Sunday night we had to update our Netflix account because we had had some suspicious activity on a credit card, and so they canceled our other credit card and gave us a new one. And so as I was doing that, I noticed that we were on a plan that was $17.99 a month with no ads. But it was $10 less a month to go to one that had ads. And we talked and said, hey, look, we've grown up with ads our whole life, so what's few ads? You know, $10 doesn't seem like much, $120 a year. But you know what that would pay for 12 of our shoe boxes to get shipped to some child that will make a difference in their life. $120 would buy about 42 to 43 meals at the Union Rescue Mission for men who are trying to maybe change their lives. And if a meal or two is the key to opening the door to the gospel where lives were changed, I met some men there that their lives were changed because of that. Jesse, Chris, Rocky, Jim, their all lives were changed because of a meal and an opportunity to hear the gospel. So again, we began to think, you know, that's worth it. That's worth a few commercials. We don't watch much TV except for when football season's on, and football games are filled with commercials. But if it means that another Jesse or another Chris or another Rocky comes to know Jesus Christ, I'll live with a few commercials. Where's your mindset? Where's your attitude about your money? Where's your treasure? Jesus said, where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. My prayer is that your heart is on the kingdom of the Lord and what kind of things he wants you to do with the resources that he's allowed you to have to do kingdom work. Have a great week. Hey, by the way, that's our cat Grace. running around behind us, because we all need a little grace in our lives.